Can getting clear on just one thing make every decision easier? Absolutely. And in today's video, I'm going to show you how clarity can transform indecision into confidence so that you can make confident decisions faster, save up moolah, snag opportunities quicker, and stop kicking yourself for missing out. Bonus is say bye-bye to second guessing. Hey, I'm Jen Silbert, founder of Good Girl Gone Bold, and today we're continuing our confident decision-making series with a story about how even smart, accomplished women can get stuck in indecision, not because they're afraid or unprepared, but because they're confused. And that confusion comes down to one hidden factor: lack of clarity. So here's the backstory. One Tuesday morning, a few years ago, I'm sitting at my computer and I'm updating my calendar, and I notice that I have a booking for tomorrow from a woman named Diane, who I met many years ago, but hadn't seen in a while. Well, Diane finds out that I'm a coach, so she books a call with me. And we get on the call, and she wastes no time to just get right down to it. She says, I don't know what's happening to me. I'm going through this phase where I can't even make the simplest decisions without hesitating. I know I need to make the decision, but I just can't. Now, Diane was no pushover. She was a very strong woman. She'd also had a long career making executive level decisions. And I'm not a total expert on the topic of hesitation, but I figured let's get down to it. Now, it turns out that her husband had passed away about 6 months ago. And that seems to be where everything changed. It started with her noticing that the back stairs off her porch were starting to fall apart. She knew they needed fixing, but she just sat on it. She says, I picked up the phone to call a contractor, but I just couldn't even dial in numbers. So then the refrigerator stops making ice cubes. And again, she sat on it. And it just kept happening, one small decision after another, until they all started piling up. By the time she called me, she wasn't just stuck. She was in anguish, feeling embarrassed. I don't even recognize myself, she said. Why can't I just act? So I started asking her questions to get a clearer picture of what was really going on behind the scenes. Obviously, she's still grieving a loss, and so she needed an outlet for that grief. But as we kept on going, we started peeling away layers and realizing what was going on underneath. Her stuckness wasn't about the stairs, it wasn't about the refrigerator, and it wasn't about all of the little things that were breaking down and needed her attention. It was about not having clarity for her future. Should she stay in her house and preserve it as is in memory of her husband? Would replacing things or changing things up dishonor his memory? Or was it just time to move on and start over? So without that clarity, making even a simple decision felt impossible. The thing is, this is what happens to so many women. Smart, accomplished, successful, doesn't matter your background. It's not that we don't know enough. It's not that we're weak and we can't make decisions. It's that we're making decisions without a compass. That compass is your clarity. And clarity comes from 3 anchors, and they're all interconnected. The first one is values. What matters most to you? If you value security, then you're probably going to be choosing stability. If you value freedom, then you probably are going to choose independence. Neither one is wrong unless it's just not aligned with you and who you really are. The second anchor is goals. It's obvious. This is where you're headed. So if your goal is growth, then you'll take on a challenge and you'll be in that headspace and you'll be ready for whatever happens next. You could probably deal better with a bit of uncertainty. But if your goal is healing, you're probably going to choose rest. And neither one is wrong. Both of them are valid if they match your path. And the third anchor is priorities. What matters most right now? Life shifts. Sometimes your priority is focused on career, building your nest egg, focusing on your professional life. And other times it's family, or your health, or your peace. If you can't name your priority, then every decision is going to feel like a tug of war. So in Diane's case, she hadn't really given herself enough time to get clarity on those 3 anchors since her husband passed away. And that's why even simple decisions, like fixing the back stairs, feels impossible. So I gave her a starting point, some self-reflection journaling homework, one of my favorite tools for getting clarity. And then I gave her some worksheets so that she could get clear on these three things, on her values, on her goals, and on her priorities. And once she did that, she started seeing decisions differently. She had her compass again. And her decision in the end was that she was going to stay where she was, because it was comforting to know that her husband's memory was still there and she could have the stability that she needed to just move forward in her career. And that's what she did. And she set herself up so that she could do a little bit more travel now too. So that little independent streak manifested in her decisions, and she's very content now. So that makes my heart feel great, knowing that I was just a small part of that journey with her. So let's bring it back to you. If any of this resonated with you, what was an area that you're thinking I'm not really that clear about? Is it my values, which by the way can shift from season to season? Values that you had 5 years ago may have completely changed. Are they your goals? Do you really know where you're going? And how about priorities? Historically, we women aren't really that great at priorities. We're more inclined to just do all of the things so that there's not even anything on our plate. But priorities help you to focus. And that way you don't have decision overload. You don't get stuck in analysis paralysis like you did before. You stop asking what's the right choice, and you can start asking what's the right choice for me right now. And that, my friend, builds self-trust. And self-trust is what transforms hesitation into confident decision making. So my challenge for you would be this. Think about one decision that you've been hesitating on recently. Where have you felt stuck? It could be really small. It could be big. But instead of spinning in hesitation, why don't you pause? You know me, I love the power pause as a big power tool. And then ask this: which decision lines up with my values, my goals, and my priorities right now? That one litmus test will help you to cut through the confusion, stop second guessing, and start making confident decisions faster.